I'm going to read the following information into the record. You are a first-class offender. You have an adjusted good time date of January the 29th of 2022. Your full term date is May 16th of 2023. You're currently in prison on indecent behavior with a juvenile and contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile in aggravated battery. You have a remaining sentence of 9 years. Is that all accurate, sir?
Yes, sir.
It's also my understanding that you were granted parole in February of this year, but you weren't able to complete your conditions, so it's been rescinded. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is a case assigned to me. Oh, okay. It's my case. All right. Mr. Lee, how old are you, sir?
52.
Okay. Mr. Lee, you did have a hearing back in February of this year. What things have you done since your hearing in February? What sort of programs have you done, or what sort of things have you done in prison since then?
Well, right after I had my hearing, the whole compound shut down. So the only thing I've been able to work on was my faith-based correspondence class through the mail. And I've been doing that, but everything else has shut down. We will never do nothing else.
Okay. Have you had any write-ups since then?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, one of the primary concerns or your conditions that you had on your release was residency. Is that right?
Yes,
is that what you're having the real problems with?
Yes, sir. Like right after I got granted parole, everything shut down, and the places that I wrote them down. Some of them wasn't accepting no one, and some of them just probation parole had denied. But they was all was supposed to have accept sex offenders.
And I think as I reviewed your record, there were some relatives that you were perhaps hoping to be able to stay with, and they just decided that's not possible. Is that right?
Well, it was my sister, but she passed, so that was the only one that was my last relative, and she passed. So I don't have.
It was my understanding there was a brother-in-law. Is the brother-in-law your sister's husband?
Yeah, well, he denied it.
Okay. Warden, do you have any comments that might be able to shed some light on this for us?
The only thing I have is that since then they did submit an application to One Touch Ministries in Baton Rouge for a residence plan, and they're still waiting on that application to come back.
Okay. All right. Ms. Wise,
usually takes a week or two before they hear back from One Touch Ministries.
Okay. Ms. Wise, any questions or suggestions in this case?
I just wanted to make sure, sir, has anything changed since your last hearing? Have you had a write-up or anything? How you been doing? Nothing has changed?
Nothing has changed. I've just been aggressively trying to find me a suitable parole place. That's all.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you hadn't had no write-ups or anything that we didn't know of, that we didn't know about.
No, ma'am. No,
okay. So do you think there's a probability you will find an approved residence within the next 9 months if we grant it?
Yes, ma'am. I'm betting on it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I just want to state for the record, you know, the law enforcement opposition is still there, so your residence plan is very, very important. Very important. No, Chairman. That's all I had.
Okay, Mr. Jones, any questions? Having trouble hearing you.
No. No questions.
No questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No questions.
It looks like is the panel ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It looks like from the last time nothing's changed. He's low risk, no write-ups. He's got good programs. I think everything is still in place to grant his parole. My vote would be to grant his parole with basically the same conditions as were outlined the last time. That is a curfew from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. unless working, it says other conditions of probation. No contact with the victims in this case. Comply with all sex offender registration mandates. I'll also add a condition that he get a substance abuse evaluation, follow whatever treatment is recommended. If they recommend AA meetings, I will go along with that. Otherwise, that won't be a requirement. And I'll also require that he meet with his probation supervisor, his parole supervisor weekly, at least for the first 30 days, just to get him, make sure he's got everything under his feet. So that would be my vote. Ms. Wise?
Sir, my vote is the same for the same reasons. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wise.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, my vote would be the same as Mr. Marabella and Ms. Wise. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lee, we have granted your parole with the special conditions. Unfortunately, one of those conditions is that you find your place to stay. So it looks like you've got some things in. The warden indicates there's a place hopefully you might be able to go to. I hope you can find something, and I hope you can be able to get out within the 9 months. If not, maybe we'll have to see you again. I don't know. But good luck to you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, you might say, I have no idea what just happened. How should you feel about this? But thank you, Richard, for providing the information. We'll go through it. You'll know what happened. And then you might be a little bit enraged as to the idea that it was just such a quick hearing, that they didn't get into the facts. They didn't want to hear how he felt about it, why the assistant DA wasn't there, why the survivor wasn't represented. This is a scary case. And but like we've seen with Louisiana, they don't really take children that seriously. You know, if he had sold stuff, different story. But what else is new? What else is new? We're accustomed to this by now, very sadly. So he appealed his convictions, right? Factual background: the victim, 14 years old. In May 2014, lived with her mother and aunt in Shreveport. On May 5th, she phoned her uncle to report that her boyfriend had put his hands on her and hit her with a coat hanger. JM was surprised, not knowing that KM even had a boyfriend, and drove to Shreveport to confront Rashawn. By the time he arrived, however, KM decided it was better to call the police. Corporal Clinton Grigsby, hello Griggs, was dispatched to Rashawn's house in the Lake Shide area. When he knocked on the door, the person who answered said he was not Rashawn. He claimed to be Rashawn was his cousin. But Corporal Grigsby he is positively identified him as KM's boyfriend from pictures on her cell phone. So she showed pictures. He's like, nope, that's you. Rashawn's real name was Roosevelt Lee, and he was... if he's nearly 50 years old and she's 14, is that really what they're saying? And their boyfriend, girlfriend? Corporal Griggs placed him under arrest and Mirandized him. Lee denied knowing who KM was. Lee also told the sex crimes unit investigator, Detective DeAndre Bell, that he did not know KM. The next day, KM, examined by Olivia Jones, a sexual assault forensic examiner at University Health. She told Ms. Jones that while she was at his house, Lee accused her of texting with other men and told her, "I'm going to treat you like a hoe." He then pulled his pants down and tried several times to stick his thing in her mouth. He grabbed her by the neck and choked her, stuck her with a coat hanger and an extension cord, and stopped only when her cell phone rang. Ms. Jones confirmed that KM had scratches around her neck and the left flank, and bruises on her right arm and right thigh, consistent with the conduct she described. Ms. Jones did take the sexual assault kit to test KM, including an oral swab, but no DNA was recovered. She was uncertain why she had not been called to examine KM until 24 hours after the initial report. It was 24 hours later. After about 2 weeks later, Detective Michael Jones Mirandized Lee. Again, this time Lee admitted he had met KM while walking on the street about 2 or 3 months earlier, and that she started coming to his house to watch movies. He insisted they were just friends with no sexual relationship, but admitted that while play fighting with coat hangers, she had hit him and he hit her back. Because, we always play fight with coat hangers. It's like, oh, coat hanger. I mean, we did do that when I was like 5 years old. We would take the coat hangers and turn it into like a weapon. But yeah, 5 years old, 50 years old, it's the same thing. The state charged Lee with indecent behavior of the juvenile, second-degree battery, contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile, and then they proceeded on to court. KM testified that she knew Lee as Rashawn and met him from February 2014 as she was walking home from school, and he offered her a ride. She told him she was only 14 years old, and he was around 50. She went to his house that day, and almost daily, after a few attempts at dry humping, they started to have sex regularly, and she considered him to be her boyfriend. However, they argued, and he slapped her for refusing to have sex with him. Why, with all of this, do they still only give him a little slap on the wrist? I mean, he's like... They just can't make it up. He's a danger, man. This is a dangerous man. On May 5th, while she was in the bathroom, Lee searched her cell phone and saw that she had a 16-year-old boyfriend. Lee got angry and called her the WHO word. He grabbed her, choked her out, threw her on the bed, and hit her in the head, back, and buttocks with an extension cord. He then grabbed her clothes hanger and hit her on the arm and head. Next, he pulled down his pants and positioned himself on her face and tried to make her perform oral on him, but she kept her mouth closed. He eventually stopped and dropped her off near her house. He threatened her not to tell anyone what had happened. KM added that the last time they had sex was the previous day. Cross-examination, she admitted all her bruises within 3 or 4 days. KM identified CD containing photos and audio recording herself, and Lee was taken with the cell phone. All images were on the CD. She specifically identified a photo taken in 2014 showing large welts on her buttocks and one showing redness on her neck, where Lee had struck and choked her. In various audio clips, the male voices heard say, "Don't be taking pictures of my thing. It's not hard." And "Come on," according to KM, spoke by Lee when they were trying to have sex. Lee elected to testify and gave a strikingly different account of his relationship with KM. He denied, now he's on the stand, right? So he denies ever using the name Rashawn. He said his 11-year-old son had that name. Great, he's using his son's name as an alias. And so that KM never used her real name. She said she was Nunu. He met KM at the Save-A-Lot store on Jewel Avenue, and when she and her mother were shopping, and gave the mother a business card in case she needed a DJ for a party she was planning. KM came to the house 4 or 5 times, but only borrowed CDs or movies. There was no sexual intercourse and no inappropriate contact between them. Lee admitted that he struck KM with the clothes hanger on May 5th, but only because she would not stop hitting him. He testified that he is disabled with diabetes, neuropathy, and had to defend himself. Finally, he never looked at KM's cell phone. It had security code, and she never disclosed it. On rebuttal, KM's mother testified that she had never met Lee either at a Save-A-Lot or anywhere else. After deliberating under 1 hour, the 6-member jury unanimously found him guilty. So they basically had lunch and then found him guilty. The court later sentenced Lee to 7 years at hard labor for indecent behavior. It's just 7 years. Can you imagine? I don't know why they don't charge him with everything, with like full on everything, and for each count and for each attempt. It's like you're going to court already. You're sequestering a jury. You're going through the process. You think the outcome should be 7 years? You know, But again, thank you, Richard, for providing this. I'll put the link in this in the description so you can, if you want to go through it. But it's mind blowing to me. You have to remember, she's 14 years old. She's a little girl. And this is a full grown 50-year-old man. And he gets a little slap on the wrist. She's 14. She's 14. Why? And my understanding is that he has a remaining 9 years on his sentence. So had he been denied, but they just granted him. And I think a lot of it has to do with, they had to go into the details. I don't know why they just didn't go into the details, make him talk about what happened, see if he accepts guilt. That's why it's so important to have an ADA show up. I mean, could you only imagine how terrified this girl might be when she finds out that he's out one day? I'd be terrified. Anyways, if you didn't see it, you might not believe it. But here you go. With that, I'll let you go.